What's going on, everybody? Doc from Average Gamer Guys back yet again. More Halo Wars 2 action. I'll tell you what, we're finishing the series up. Kinsano is our last leader that we're testing, and I sincerely did save the best for last. These two games they're arguably the two best Blitz games that I've ever played. The deck's up on screen right now. This is what I'm using. And I come to find that we have an MVP card, especially in the 1v1s. The Flame Warthog is just an absolute beast. The best thing about these two games, too, is who I ended up playing. So we're jumping into this first match. Brought Relic, 3-2-1, good dude, sent me a good game after he kind of pretty handedly whooped my butt a few games prior. I think when I was using Cutter or Anders. And so as soon as I saw this guy, I was like, man, he's level 50. I know his veteran level. I think he was averaging around 6. So he's got about 3, anywhere between 2 to 3 levels on me. This is the first game we're jumping into it. I'm not feeling super great about it. I'm just kind of remembering back when, again, he's a good player. He definitely did a good job in that first match that we matched up. And anytime I see a level 50, I know they're going to be good. They've obviously got some time in the game. They know what they're doing. They've probably got a pretty solid deck build that they've been pretty happy with. And there's also a good chance that he's probably ranked pretty well above me, just for the sole fact that his cards are probably, again, they're a couple levels higher than mine, and they're pretty good. So that's just kind of a consideration that I had. But he did swap up his units that he was using, so that was kind of a he went the Forge build, which I was interested to see. So he's definitely moving around using different leaders, probably trying to finish up some daily challenges. And here's the veteran. Those are the veteran Flame Hogs, but we drop another Flame Hog in here, and these things they're just doing work for me right now. The veteran Flame Hogs are obviously just absolutely great. The fact that I get the 2 to start, and I just really kind of focus this group up and start letting them go to work. He's dropping in a lot of infantry, which they're honestly just tearing up, which is absolutely awesome. And the Flame Warthog, the reason I picked it over the veteran, for the sole fact of it has rush. At 70 energy, I guess I kind of forgot about it. It's not honestly, it's not a troop that I used a whole lot, but I saw it. I decided, hey, this might be a good addition to the team. And as you guys saw in the deck earlier, so far it seems like it's working out pretty good. He's obviously setting up pretty good. He's got himself some Kodiak setting up. Obviously he knows what he's doing here. I'm just trying to, at this point, play some defense. I'm going to call in. I'm not too scared of this Scorpion getting hit just by this Kodiak, so I'm going to call it in here. I'm going to get a little group going. I'm going to get something down here. This whole game, it's a huge back and forth. It was absolutely brutal of a game, and I'm really happy that we were able to pull out the win. Not only because he was so much higher in level than me, but just the fact that it was a really hard fought game, and I thought I played, honestly I thought I played really well. I felt like I played good. I felt like I made good decisions with my cards. Obviously we're given some points up here, but we had a little bit of an advantage already. We took some early points, so it's very much a game of a lot of trading back and forth. At this point I realize I'm probably not going to be able to win that fight there. I don't want to lose everything. I definitely don't want to lose the Scorpion, and I don't want to lose the Nightingale, definitely. And I'm definitely going to push and try to make the energy consumption a big portion of the game. Now I know obviously that's kind of always been my strategy, and in every video I talk about how important it is to work the energy advantage, but I really couldn't stress it enough here, how being able to pick up this energy is going to be real crucial, and you do have to focus on it. And I think this is the thing, especially with his cards, pretty much all of his troops having 2 veteran levels over me. I really knew that I needed the capability to get in and uh, honestly just hold my own by calling in more units. That was the only thing that was going to help me. As you can see right there, I mean, he's got level 6 jackrabbits there to my level 3 veteran Cyclops. So I'm definitely out a little bit here, but this is a great Phoenix missile. And then the rushed Warthog, I'm telling you guys, just absolutely brutal. I'm setting this up. Obviously, he's doing a great job. He has some really interesting and really good placements for his Kodiaks. That was a fantastic place. It's going to contest the point. It's kind of hard to get to. You got to move quite around quite a bit. It can see all the way onto B. So again, for him, very well done. I'm going to call this in just to contest this point because I don't want him to get too far ahead. Obviously, he's beaten me here at this point by about 60, just over 60 points. We're making some really good fights up here on the ridge, but I'm having such a hard time. These Kodiaks, these level 6 Kodiaks are so hard to destroy. I'm just like putting all of my energy at this point trying to take these out, and you can see, I mean, it's taken me a while. It really is. I do finally knock this one out down here. We got a little group going. I decided I'm going to move this up again. I am trying to focus super hard on the energy collection. I move the vulture in. Now that I can see that sniper, that's going to go ahead and lock me down on B. At this point, I'm like, okay, we've got a little bit of breathing room. We've got some capability to get in here and get a little bit of a fights going. I take that energy right there, and then I'm like, all right, this is my chance. I'm going to move. I'm going to try to go and just make up some of the points, make up some of the early points. This guy is all over the map too. You can see that's probably what, the 4th Kodiak I think he's brought in. So he's doing a great job of cycling through and getting those cards. I think because he knows honestly how strong they are for him. So I'm going to get this Cyclops down. I'm going to try to start to get in here and get a little bit of a fight going. I think about napalm missiles here, and I'm like, you know what? No, that would be a waste. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I'll call this sniper in, which was a bad positioning by my part. And I realize I'm like, okay, I'm not winning this fight. I think about infernoing here. I actually do think I get the inferno up. I'm not actually sure. This was just such an intense game. I do end up calling the vulture, and I think this is a good move here. Obviously, I need to be able to take down the Kodiaks because of how strong they are. I think it's at this point with my vulture going down, I think I accidentally call in this jackrabbit, so that's about the only one of the very minor misplays that I think I had. I think this inferno here was just absolutely brutal for me. Now obviously I'm calling in other troops to kind of help me out here. This ends up being a really interesting fight. I'm able to call in a couple of units to kind of help me again stay in this fight, but being able to lock down C was really crucial. It ended up allowing me to not get super far behind, which was what I was hoping for. Now he's got a pretty good pushback. He's got a vulture. Again, you can see there's 2 more Kodiaks, which are just so hard for me to fight, again, because they have so much health, they have so much range, the capability for them to really deal a lot of damage is tough. I decide, I'm like, okay, I can get this over here, I'll get this Scorpion down, it can do some damage. I'm actually going to use this Cyclops. I'm going to go and go ahead and get myself this energy, because I know, again, that's the only thing that's going to be helping me in this fight against these units that I'm really having a tough time taking down. He's creeping up slowly on points. He's done a good job. He's gone back. He's taken C. So at this point, I'm like, man, I have to be able to take down these units. A good napalm missile drop here kind of sets me up, takes out essentially everything out on the ridge. I'm able to get in here, use this sniper to contest this point. So he's still gaining, but not quite as much. I keep that jackrabbit alive, which allows me to get in and go grab that energy. So we've locked down A. We're now trying to finish up and take out yet another Kodiak comes in, and you can see just how much health these things have. I've got Flame Hog, I've got a veteran Cyclops and a Scorpion, all at decent level of veteran, trying to fight these Kodiaks and just having nothing. I'm finally able to take them down, but again, these veteran Flame Hogs coming in, or I keep saying veteran, these Flame Hogs coming in have just been absolutely brutal. The fact that he's kind of reliant a little bit on the infantry side of it is really helping me, and helping me with the capability to contest and kind of continue the fight for that point. I'm able to take those out. By doing that, I essentially take away the sight range from that one setting up on C, and this actually kind of gives me a little bit of the advantage here to kind of keep pushing. So I don't have a lot of room left. I'm sitting at 145, 146 points to his 183. I mean, he takes 2 points even just for a little bit, and I'm going to be in trouble here. But at this point, I've got a solid army set up on B. I've got a couple units set up on A, so I feel okay with that. I finally have taken down the units on C. So we've got all 3 points locked down. I see this army coming in, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not sure this is a fight that I want to end up taking on, but I'm going to kind of let them do their thing. I'm going to get my Vulture up. I'm going to kind of use that as my artillery because I don't have a Kodiak in this, actually. And at this point, I feel pretty good with the army that I've got. I see him pushing in onto this point, moving kind of slow, and I realize I just need to hold for the Inferno. If this group can hold on B, and I can get this Inferno in to soak up a ton of the damage, he's going to bring his whole army in. Here we go, boom, Inferno goes down. He has to push off of the point, and boom, right there we go. We get B back, 1 point, 2 points, boom, the victory. I was psyched. I'm still psyched. Seriously, the best for last. This is a little bit longer of an episode because that was an absolutely brutal fight. Great game. Super happy. Kinsano worked out like a charm, honestly. The Inferno, the napalm missiles, the units, I'm telling you, the Flame Hog, super impressed. I'm extremely impressed with it. It was something that came up on our stat sheet that didn't do extraordinarily well, but the rush capability at 70 energy, how good it is against infantry, really sold me. So we'll take a quick look at the deck, and if you thought that game was good, wait until you see the next game. So here's the deck. We got the Jackrabbit, 2 Cyclops, both Wolverines, the Nightingale, Sniper to help us with the infantry. The Flame Warthog, I'm telling you guys, is the absolute key to this deck. We run a pretty standard Scorpion Vulture, that's kind of the top end. Napalm missiles, okay. One thing I did consider swapping out in between these games, but I decided to keep it in. And then Inferno at 180 energy. Inferno will win you the game. As you can see, it did right there. He had to pull those units off. He could have continued to contest, but if he would have left them there, he would have lost all of them, and I would have won anyways. An absolute great leader power. The damage output is absolutely awesome. So we'll jump into the second game, same deck, and of course, the first like 6 or 7 episodes of this, I don't see that many level 50s. And here we go, back to back, another level 50. Shadow Knight, I haven't played this guy. Using Sergeant Johnson, which I think is really interesting. I realize as I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh my gosh, if this guy is good with the bunkers, I'm going to be in trouble because I don't have any blast units. I don't have Kinsano Cyclops, and she doesn't get the access to any other blast units to have in there. So I'm kind of considering that. I'm like, okay, he's going to have the infantry group more likely than not, which we see right here up front. And I'm like, okay, my veteran Flame Hogs, they're going to do okay against that group, but obviously it has Cyclops, so it's kind of tough. So I know I'm in for a good fight here. I am going to try to push forward and grab some of this energy here and just kind of try to steal it from him, and I do not at all get there. I realize at this point these things aren't standing a chance. He gets first blood on me, which is absolutely brutal. But we get a little bit of a point advantage, so I'm feeling not so bad. We only lose one of the hogs So I'm going to be able to move this guy around a little bit, get him up over above A. So not terrible. I'm setting up. I'm definitely. I know again my very similar strategy to what I had been doing earlier, which was to I need to contest points early. I need to get as many points as I can early, and then I definitely need to win the energy war if I stand any chance. Off the top of my head, I can't remember how high a veteran level this guy had above me. I don't think it was. I don't remember it being super crazy, but I do remember it being, I think, around the 6s or so as well. And I think 6s, 7s. So definitely still an advantage for sure. I mean, normally a Vanguard Wolverine would absolutely decimate that Nightingale, and I actually think it gets out of range without dying, which was a little upsetting because that was a pretty hard counter I'd played there. I was hoping I was going to kind of do a 70 for 50 energy trade. And that did not go my way exactly. But at this point, we've got 2 points. He's kind of getting set up onto B, which at this point I realize I'm fine with. I'm fine with letting this happen. I'm fine with letting him have B as long as he doesn't get too set up. I see him starting to move his army over, and I know, honestly, these 2 troops, they're not going to be able to stand this fight. So I'm going to pull them back. I'm going to get them out of there. I decide that I probably just need to wait for my vulture. If I can get my vulture up, I will go in, I'll target that Kodiak, I'll make this push over here, I'll try to get back onto B, because I didn't see a whole ton of anti-air, minus I think the 1 Wolverine that he had. These guys didn't take any damage. I was a little upset that I didn't realize that I had selected both, so I think I kind of missed a little bit of a prime opportunity to get a missile in here. But I think it actually works out for my favor because the Phoenix missile is something that I'm going to want to use, and I'm going to want to use it against his Wolverine here, obviously. And again, he's got about an average of level 7 for veteran level, so again, he definitely does have a little bit of an advantage over me. But here you see, I'm telling you, the Flame Hogs have just been absolutely great. The nice thing too about my setup right now, being a couple units on C, is I'm able to go in, grab that energy. He's busy with this fight. He's 100% busy with the fight. Doesn't even, I don't think, even realizes that I've got units essentially just moving around. I'm doing a decent job of taking these guys out. I've got good fights going on there, but I essentially soaked up all 3 of those energy. I'm then going to be able to go in, move quickly, and go and grab A back, because he's had to bring so much of his forces forward. Now that Wolverine got absolutely demolished by his Cyclops there, but we essentially both are able to keep our units, which is really interesting. I really thought I was going to be able to get that fight because he called that in fatigued. I thought the Wolverine would really finish it off for me, but I am definitely happy that we're able to keep both of our vultures. So happy. Obviously, I need to be able to save up and continue to hold as many of my units, especially my bigger top tier units, and the things that are going to be able to help me take down kind of what he still has as his core group of units back. Again, having the 2 Wolverines in this deck was absolutely critical. I'm going to make a decent fight here. I'm going to pull this Jackrabbit out. He's going to get a Phoenix missile off, which is okay. I do a little bit of damage, but with his Vulture sitting at level 7, it's just so hard to fight. But I do get the Jackrabbit out of there, which I'm pretty happy about. This I think is the turning point for this fight for me. I'm able to get a really good core group right here. I've got 2 Vultures, a Scorpion, a Cyclops. I'm able to go in, I'm going to grab these 2 energy cores, which is again just critical for me, and then I'm going to go make this push for this fight. He brings some units in. Again, the Flame Warthog coming in, being rush, is going to help me win that fight. I bring the Cyclops over to join this. I see he just drops in a bunker, which is totally okay actually, because my whole sole focus here is to get these vultures in. I want to obviously be able to take them out Having 2 Phoenix missiles is absolutely awesome. So I'm going to be able to take out some of the air. I'm going to be able to take out the Wolverine on the ground. I know that I've won that fight over above C because I was able to call in that additional unit. And the other nice thing here is I do lose the Scorpion, I do lose the Cyclops. His garrison Marines aren't going to be able to honestly do a ton. That was a complete misplay right there. And then I realized, here we go, we're going to drop this Inferno in, and we're going to deal some damage here. My whole focus now after this, since I don't really have anything on the ground, take this Vulture out so I can make sure that I keep mine. The 2, in addition to the Nightingale, is absolutely critical. And then I realize I'm just going to kind of let that burn down. I'm going to go grab A back, and I'm going to try to just finish this Kodiak off, which I don't think I end up doing, which is totally fine. But here, by this point, I've got another Phoenix missile up. I'm able to drop it in, finish this group off right here. Boom, done, good to go. Call my Vanguard Wolverine, and I get a 3rd Vulture in. So that was absolutely brutal for me. It was a great fight, super happy with it. He goes and takes A back, which is totally fine. I've got this Cyclops, I'm going to move him over, I'm going to get that energy. I've now obviously also gotten the energy above C. I call in a 2nd Nightingale, and I realize the air side is going to be what wins me this fight. I've now got 3 Phoenix missiles available to me. I'm going to target this Wolverine first. He's got a good little core group, here. He just doesn't have enough that's going to be able to take down my air units. I'm going to be able to rush in another Flame Hog. I'm just going to start pumping out units, things that can help me out. That 1 Vulture essentially does a decent job of soaking up all the damage that his Phoenix missile is able to do. And at this point I can just start calling in additional units now that I've, again, got air superiority essentially, which is interesting because Kinsano is still, in my opinion, kind of weak to air, and yet we're over here using 3 Vultures and really dominating the air fight. Now, interestingly enough, he calls in the Condor gunship, which is great. It's a super good unit. But my whole plan there is I'm just going to pull off of B. I'm going to try to save as many units as I can. I do lose that Vulture there, which kind of sucks. And I'll lose a few points overall. But at this point I realize I'm just going to call in another core group of units. As soon as that thing goes, I'm going to push back up onto B and kind of have my way with the point. I've got a huge army at this point, which is the one reason, again, I'm not a big fan of those really high energy costing, especially in 1v1s. I think too much is spent, and he doesn't get, if it was a unit that stayed, that'd be awesome. But the fact that it's on such a short timer, it allows me to bring essentially these 2 armies in at this point. I realize I can go push for A, I can make a great push for B as well, and I'll essentially get a lockdown all 3 points here, while simultaneously pushing forward, grabbing all 3 energy cores, and at this point, like I just got total domination. That's kind of how I'm feeling. There's nothing that he's going to be able to do with Sergeant Johnson because there's no real good leader power that can deal a ton of damage. No blast unit that I have to worry about, and we locked this one up. So 2 really awesome fights. 2 of the best Blitz games I wholeheartedly can say that I've ever had. These are honestly, I think, the first 2, potentially the first 2 wins that I've had against rank 50s. It puts me up into Diamond 2, which again is my highest rank, so this was just an awesome way to finish this series. We've got one more video coming up tomorrow, so check that one out. It's going to be my overall thoughts, kind of my leader rankings, and kind of breaking down how I ended up doing with each of the leaders. If you haven't checked them all out, got the whole series, so if you've got a favorite leader you kind of want to see just how he set things up, please go back, take a look. Taking a look at the deck again, I'm telling you, Flame Warhog was an absolute beast in ones. With the proponent and a lot of people playing, infantry units, the fact that you can drop this in, it's great against infantry. It's got rush, it holds its own against vehicles, can even damage air a little bit. Really great for contesting energy cores. The rest of the deck, honestly, I'm very happy with. It's pretty standardized, as I realize, kind of going through, taking a look at all these. Excuse me. That I play a lot of the same cards. I tried to mix it up with Kinsano. Napalm missiles is one thing that it worked well, but definitely something that you could potentially switch. I looked at maybe either the Hornet or the Kodiak. I think in the future I'm going to test it out a little bit. I will take the Napalm missiles out and run the Hornet, because Inferno as a leader power is just absolutely brutal. So again, super happy, super psyched that I won these 2 games, got up into Diamond 2. Great way to finish this series as far as the leaders are concerned. Stay tuned for tomorrow to finish this whole thing up, wrap it up. I've really enjoyed making this series, and I hope you guys and gals have kind of enjoyed going along with this with me. So thank you so much for watching this one. I know it was a little bit longer video. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, follow us on Twitter. That link's in the description. Join the Xbox Average Gamer Guys Club. Do all that great stuff. Look forward to tomorrow in the wrap-up video. And thank you again so very much for all of the support, not only for the channel, but also for this series. I've been Doc with Average Gamer Guys. Thanks so much for watching. We'll check you in the next one.